We are always looking for better ways to reach students who come in, again, with a variety of backgrounds. Sometimes that means technology. Sometimes that means incorporating popular culture. Sometimes that means changing our assignments to better reflect students' experiences or the work that students are going to be doing in other majors, in career fields.
I find that UT students are generally on the mechanical level pretty well prepared, but not especially confident.
What's funny is it's not that they aren't prepared for writing, it's that they aren't very good readers.
You can't assume that all students are coming in with the same experiences. They come from different schools. In some cases, they come from different countries. Everybody has something to learn when they show up.
The greatest challenge I see a lot of students having is taking a stand and coming to understand that their opinion is meaningful and that I actually want their opinion. Now, I want them to support it. I want them to provide evidence. I want them to discuss the matter at hand. And the second they make that transition in between from saying the right answer to saying their answer, their writing improves like that. It's amazing.
I'm constantly trying to find assignments and readings that students connect with, and I think we all have to do that.
I try not to assign anything that is just making them jump through a hoop. My goal is to get them ready to write in their discipline.
When it comes to actually formulating an idea, their idea, they've had the most trouble because they've never been asked to do it before. When there's no investment in the position other than it's required, that's the biggest hurdle I see. Because once you can get students invested in what they're doing, they will go to the ends of the earth for you.
But I'm not sure if there's enough individual work with every student. A lot of students struggle more than other students do, and I don't think teachers do enough to sit down with them and say, okay, what are you really having trouble with, and what can I help you with?
A lot of students need this one-on-one time that professors can't always give. And sometimes kids are afraid to get it from us.
I think students should be seeking out as much feedback as they can get from anybody who will read and respond to their writing. And that might be teachers, that might be their parents, that might be other students, that might be tutors in the writing center.
To be able to have someone to say, what did you mean by that sentence? What were you trying to say with that sentence? Helps a lot, because oftentimes I've found when I ask students that question, they say it to me and it makes complete sense, but what they had down on paper made no sense at all.
You're not just trying to figure it out on your own. You have someone sitting there who is trained to help you and who knows what to say and has other resources that can help you. So I think that tutoring, it's easier to have something explained to you.
If you add in the fact that it's not intimidating because you're a student too, it just opens a lot more doors, because if it was a professor trying to teach them or sit with them and try to work through things, I feel like students would be more intimidated and perhaps would not ask questions.
You're having a fresh set of eyes, somebody who's not going to judge you, somebody that you don't have to be afraid of that kind of thing with, somebody who's not just trying to make it seem like everything's okay because they don't want to insult you.
I always suggest the student, especially if he or she knows that he's a poor speller, that they get 2, 3, 4 sets of eyes on it.
But the more feedback we can give students, and if they actually take the feedback, which is tough, and I remember being a student and being, what's the grade, what's the grade, what's the grade? But the more feedback we can give students, the better.
So when I first started, I had the yellow legal pad, and students turned things in, not handwritten because I'm mostly a digital native, so everybody was still typing up their papers, but it's changed a lot. For me, you're not going to hear any speeches about how tech is making us all dumb, right? Because I just don't feel that way.
I think there's a lot of hand-wringing about writing or about how technology is destroying us and we're going to tweet ourselves to death intellectually. This is false. Every single new technology that's ever come from the invention of writing, the romances destroyed Don Quixote's mind, and novels destroyed Emma Bovary's mind, and films destroyed someone else's mind, and TV destroyed our parents' generation, and video games destroyed my generation, and Twitter will destroy your generation. Life goes on. And there's still plenty of good writing being produced.
It allows students to write more than they probably have ever written before, because you've got people who can blog, and you've got people who can build their own websites and communicate with the world.
There are drawbacks there. Certainly, Facebook and text messaging don't reward proper grammar or spelling. You see the occasional student who will write in an academic paper the letter U as a word.
If we, the professors, can just kind of retool some of our classes to speak that language, I think that they'd be more engaged in writing, because they do a lot of that writing voluntarily already. And they find it to be important because it gives them an instant audience. As soon as you give the students an audience, they start to care about what they're writing.
I have students work with nonprofits in the community. They do writing projects that range from grant proposals to promotional materials to all sorts of other things. And by the end of the class, they really know that writing matters.
I don't think that you're going to be able to get a job after graduation if you can't write well. And that means writing the resume and the cover letter in order to get the job, and that means once you get on the job, writing a business communication, writing a letter to your clients. I just think that that's one of the strongest skills that a person can have.
Writing well and proficiently opens doors, or rather, not writing well closes doors. And every job is a sales job on some level, and especially since to get any job, you have to sell yourself.
Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what you've done in your life except for what's on paper. Students need to be reminded that that written version of themselves is extremely important.
In our OTCs, our commander, she's always telling us how important writing is. Once you become a new lieutenant, your name is attached to whatever you've written.
Everything that I read said that one grammar or spelling error can cause your resume to go into the pile of not even being looked at.
I think that since argument is useful in any major, any job in the world, writing proposals, writing classical arguments, just making them verbally, that is the most applicable thing that we can do, is to teach people to have cogent, like logical arguments.
I don't care what your field is. If you can't communicate clearly, you're unemployable.
Read more, for fun. Read anything, and then think critically about the world for yourself.
Growing up, I read a lot, and I think that's one of the reasons that I perhaps don't find it as hard to adapt to a different country or a different language, or writing in a different language as much as other students, just because when you know what something should be like, you can get there.
Write every day. You can train yourself to be a good writer.
Read more and write more. I mean, the greatest writers are the greatest readers, and they write a lot. And you will write mountains of dreck. But you'll get better.
I think we just need to be paying attention. We need to be open to change, and we need to modify the curriculum wherever it's appropriate.